Okay, let me show you how to link supplies to products so that as your customers order products, you will automatically allocate supplies and your purchase ordering system can pretty much be set on autopilot. Okay, so let's figure out how this all works together. We've already kind of touched on this in previous videos, and if you haven't watched those, please go back and do so. The things we talked about and the things that we set up in those videos are crucial to being able to understand this next step. So let's do a quick review of what we've done so far in the last videos. So we set up attributes, pricing, and parts. So the attributes themselves had to be configured a little bit to be able to work with supplies. And the way that we did that is on attributes that were select option types, we had to actually set the attribute to be able to connect to a certain supply. So what I mean by that is if we look at wood type here, if we go up to e-commerce, product attributes, click there and okay, directly associate with supplies. Now we talked about this before, but this is the one that you're going to need to click so that these, I'm scrolling right, that these two columns show up. So the first step then is to match up the name, the attribute name that they're going to select from a drop-down list, in this case Alder, with the actual supply item in your company. So you're going to have somewhere in your company where it's being stored, so the location, and then within that location you're going to select one of the supplies that you've already created. So go down through and do that to all of your different drop downs. Associate the drop down name with the actual supply location and supply name in your system. So if we come back to this chart here, what we've done is we've taken a supply and we've told it at this level, at the attribute level, exactly which one is going to be tied with which drop down. So now that we've done that, we can come into a product. So we'll come to e-commerce, products, simple cope and stick door, and we'll come to the attributes. So those are already in line, nothing needs to be done there. Those will now work. Scroll to the parts tab, and now here's where we're going to link a supply with a part. We've already linked the drop down with a supply. Now we're going to actually tell it how much to use. And remember, we did this in the other video. Scroll down to the bottom and you're going to select where it is and which inventory item you're going to use, and then you're going to give it the formula. Let's just talk through what we're doing here. You're going to create your own formulas, and most of the time what you're going to do is for every single part, so you're going to take this part, which is the left style, and for every single part you're going to create a formula. So you're going to do this part width, so that's coming from here. So the width times the length times the quantity divided by 144. And the reason that they did this is because in this case they want board footage. Then you're going to times all of that by wood type waste. And what that is, if you remember, is they built a column that would actually be a number like 1.35. And what that is doing is that's saying that that wood has a 35% waste yield. So whatever this number was, times it by 1.35, and now you're going to get the number that you're going to need plus the waste that you're going to have, which is then the number of material that this part will require. So again, once you've set that up for all of your parts, then you'll know exactly how much you'll need for every single part, and therefore every single thing that you're trying to manufacture. So let me show you how this works using an order. So let's just look at any old order here, and these have all been set up. So to make this interesting, so I'm going to delete everything besides this door here. And in fact, let's just delete this and save. So when we come to resource allocation, which is what we'll talk about later, this is a spot where you can see everything that's being allocated as far as supplies go. So you'll see that we've set aside from lumber storage, 4/4 maple, board feet, we have 2303 on hand. This order needs 5.659. We have available only this much. So what's going to happen is this is going to automatically create a PO and you'll be able to order wood from this. this. Let's exaggerate this so that we can see it much easier. And let's do something like this and recheck. Okay, so we need 4,397 board feet of this. Okay, so I can actually click on this. Here it is. Here's the supply. Our minimum quantity is 0. We order one at a time. So now if I were to go back to this order, and so I'm going to go from bid, save, and then bid to ordered. And so what we've done now is simulated the customer ordering the job. So we've ordered it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we've even accepted this order yet. So once someone verifies in your company, now we are okaying this for production, which means this can now be looked at as allocated and we actually need it. So we are going to look at the supply section and we're going to look at all of the things that are needed. So you see that it automatically set aside, since we didn't have the numbers we needed in 4/4 maple. Again, I could click on this and change those settings. Then it allocated this much and it says we need to order that. So now that we have the product allocating the correct supplies and sending it to the need to purchase section, we can move on to creating a PO. And we'll talk about that in an upcoming section.